Not so bullish on Compass Mining or mining hosting, because I've been basically hearing about miner hosting getting shut down everywhere. ProDirect is done, which we did the interview with them. They aren't hosting anymore. And now Compass Mining has lost a facility, allegedly failing to pay a power bill. And this actually happened basically, I think overnight, yesterday. And here we go. The facility owner, Dynamics Mining, publicly took to Twitter to share the letter terminating its hosting agreement with Compass Mining, saying it had unpaid bills. Bitcoin mining hardware and hosting company Compass Mining has lost one of its main-based hosting facilities after the owner, Dynamics Mining, terminated the hosting agreement between the two, claiming Compass failed to pay the required bills. Late on Sunday, Dynamics tweeted a letter on Twitter it sent to Compass Mining, which stated, as of June 14th, the hosting contract between the two was terminated. Dynamics alleged Compass has 6 late payments and 3 non-payments related to utility bills and hosting fees. Man, as I look at my utility bill and the revenue, it always gets scarier and scarier, and I'm scared of being in this type of position too. Luckily, I'm making my payments, but I got to make my rent payment today, and I'm like, I have to go liquidate Ergo, which I don't want to do, and that's like the position I'm in. So I feel it. I feel the pain here from a mining perspective, but at the same time, it's like, this is a much larger company. What happens to the people that have been having their mining rigs hosted by Compass Mining? Are they going to be, making up for this in some way as it gets shut down? Now, obviously, this being on Twitter is kind of in bad taste from Dynamics, but at the same time, depending on how many times they have been trying to gather payment from Compass, it may make sense, because here's the thing. Compass Mining has a very, very large, they need their PR, right? They need that public facing, like, hey guys, we're a good company, we're stand up, you can trust us with your mining rigs, blah, blah, blah. And if you are stuck in a position with a company like that you're trying to get payment from, maybe making it public is the best way to do it, so that they, will pony up so that they don't get this bad PR. It's a little too late for that now, though, obviously, because the bad PR is out there. In a follow-up tweet a few hours later on Monday, Dynamics alleged the power consumption bills totaled $1.2 million, and Compass had only paid around $665,000. It said Compass claims to have given the money required for the bills, but Dynamics allege it was used to build other facilities instead. The very public situation caused Compass Mining CEO Whit Gibbs to tweet it would fight this battle in court, not on Twitter. The tweet has since been deleted. And that is interesting, because Dynamics Mining is leaving their tweets up, and Whit Gibbs is deleting their tweets. Obviously, probably if he is talking to legal, then maybe they were like, hey, get rid of that tweet right now. But the individual behind Dynamics' account hit back at Gibbs, saying that all Compass had to do was pay $250K for 3 months of power consumption, and that Twitter is the voice of your customer base, not the courtroom. And that is just what I was referencing earlier, so I'm glad they brought up that point. The reason Dynamics is hitting Twitter is because they want the customer base to be aware of the situation, to get basically Compass Mining to resolve this issue as far as non-payment. A spokesperson for Compass said to Cointelegraph, there we go, that the statements from Dynamics Mining are absolutely incorrect, and it would be issuing a statement shortly. On June 28th, Compass announced Gibbs and Chief Financial Officer Jody Fisher had resigned effectively immediately, adding Compass Mining was created to make mining easy and accessible. We recognize that there have been multiple setbacks and disappointments that have detracted from the objective. Through this restructuring, the company is wholly focused on regaining goodwill for our stakeholders in the community. And we talked about this, obviously, on the 28th. Chief Technology Officer Paul Gosker and Chief Mining Officer Thomas Heller were appointed as interim co-presidents and CEOs. Compass added it will begin a search for a permanent CEO and CFO immediately. It is unclear if Gibbs and Fisher's resignations are a direct result of the situation with Dynamics Mining. Cointelegraph contacted Dynamics Mining for comment, but did not receive a response by publication time. Compass Mining sells application-specific integrated circuit miners, specialized cryptocurrency mining devices, which come with an option to be hosted in its facilities located across the United States and Canada. It is unknown what will happen to the customer miners located at the facility. And that's really the crux of the issue as a miner, because man, finding hosting is extremely difficult. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, where there are more miners coming into the US than there is facilities available to host them. So facilities that are already up and running that give you an option to host make a lot of sense, because if you're trying to build up enough power to go ahead and get them in, it's going to take a long time, because basically everybody's backed up. There's work shortages everywhere as far as getting anything done. There's supply shortages, so power companies for install are taking a long time. So I get the appeal. There's high power costs rising, so finding a hosting facility that's cheaper than the actual price that you would pay for your power makes sense from that perspective. But on the flip side, you don't control your hardware, right? If you don't control the hardware, not what would we say? Not your power, not your miner. There we go. Not your power, not your miner. That's the new coin phrase we're going to use. And it pertains here in a very specific way, because if somebody else is powering your miner, you're completely reliant on them to keep it up and running. And in a situation where they miss power bills or something like that, in this case, potentially, right, allegedly from Dynamics Mining, regardless, though, that mining facility gets shut down and now you have a miner that's not running. Are you still paying the bill for that miner? Have you already paid up front? How far out now is your ROI? How many days are down? Will they compensate you? All these questions come into play. But that's kind of where I'm going to end it with my coin phrase, not your power, not your miner. Compass states that in the event of an emergency, it may rearrange, remove, or relocate customer hardware without any liability to Compass, according to its hosting agreement. And that's good if they have enough room in other facilities, right? You still have the downtime for them to ship it from this facility that's no longer functioning to a new facility. And then, like we talked about yesterday, it looks like we're running out of power to host all of these miners just in general, with a huge influx of them coming in. So will there actually be enough room in another facility, right? And then how long would it take for them to spin up another facility? The terms also see customers waive their rights to seek remedies in court. And that is incredibly concerning. Just to be clear, if you read that, I didn't dig into Compass Mining because I wasn't going to dig into the hosting thing after kind of seeing the struggles that ProDirect had and so on. Compass had reached out to me. I kind of wish I would have read into these terms. I was not aware that their terms say that you waive the rights to seek remedies in court. I don't know if that actually holds up in court, but that would be a very concerning term and condition to me. Or be involved in any class action lawsuits, and any proceedings must be brought forward by each individual customer if they were to file a lawsuit against Compass. The situation comes when many cryptocurrency miners face a challenging market environment with the continuing price slide of Bitcoin and increasing energy costs. In mid-June, when Bitcoin fell below $24,000, the profitability of many of the older ASIC miners dropped into the negative zone. And even some of the newer generation mining rigs are near or past their shutdown thresholds based on the price of the asset. Around the same time, with Bitcoin mining profitability dropping over 75% from the market top, the volume of Bitcoin sent by miners to crypto exchanges reached a 7-month high on June 15th. Several public Bitcoin mining firms sold 100% of their Bitcoin production in May, according to reports. And I do want to say, some of the mistakes I've made, like I've talked about before, I knew the halving cycle. I'm not stupid. I just got tied up in the whole, it's going to go up for a couple more months. I should have moved into a cash position early on. Luckily, I don't have debt to pay off or anything like that as far as for miners. I do have operating costs. which we will be covering the balance sheet tomorrow, and it's going to look extremely disappointing, and I'll talk to you guys about that. But these larger companies, I'm surprised they wouldn't have been a lot more safer in these positions, and now they're in a position where they're selling 100% of their mined Bitcoin to stay afloat. Luckily, they can still do that. We'll have to see if that continues. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. You can check out the full episode here or more crypto content down here. Also, I'd like you to check out my locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where you can become a member for free or choose to be a $5 a month supporter that unlocks additional content.